Hey guys, welcome to another week of Chewing the Fat. This week I have another client on the Simpler Health Protocol, Mr. Daren Nair. Welcome, Daren. How you going?
Hello. There's a lot, a
Hello.
lot less, a lot, there's a lot less of me here to say hello, but I'm here.
There is. I couldn't used to see the bag on that door before.
Yeah, because I used to have half my boob covering that side of the shot.
So I've known Darren for a few years now, and your lovely now wife Agnieszka, and I think we're sort of made from the same sort of mold. You know, love sitting around a cheese platter and a few beers and whiskies and wines, and
and pizza. Yep.
and and pizza. No, I still haven't had pizza. Do you know that?
You still haven't had pizza?
Still haven't had pizza.
Oh my god!
I was talking about you.
Yeah.
I was talking about you last night to someone else I was interviewing that got posted up last night, and I was saying,
yeah, right.
I couldn't believe I hadn't eaten pizza yet.
That's I honestly I didn't know that, and I can't believe it. The two things that I've had dreams about since I've been on the protocol is a bucket of KFC chicken, and I also had a dream about pizza. I was saying to Dean, like about a month into the protocol, I got up literally in the middle of the night. It was like 2:00 in the morning, and I was in sweats. Right, I was like just like in a panic because I got up thinking that I had broken the protocol and that I'd eaten a bucket of chicken. And I was genuinely upset and really distraught because I'd been sticking to this thing for 4 weeks and then I'd messed the whole thing up. And then I'd realized, I looked around and was like, oh, I think that was a dream. It's still like in the morning.
Anyway,
I genuinely
where's that bucket? Where's that bucket?
Yeah. So yeah, it's the two things I've dreamt about on this protocol is pizza and KFC.
Cool. All right. Well, so let's get into it. What had you? What was the tipping point? What had you reach out to Dean and get some stuff in order?
Well, I think it's kind of there's two sides to it, right? Like I really didn't want to. When Dean was going on about it, he was really annoying me. I got really pissed off at him several times. I even swore at him a lot, just saying, Dean, you're full of it. Like, I'll do it when I'm ready and, all that kind of stuff. But it was really my wife. So, she'd been bugging me for years, like years and years and years. And it was actually because of her. She just said, you should really do it. And I think, it must have been like a whole month in a row. She was just constantly on me about it. And I just said, well, okay, let's give it a go. And so I finally called Dean. And
I think
we're still kicking
a couple of times too.
Yeah, I did. I rang.
What did you have to give up to join to join Dean? What did you have to?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
what did you have to give up to actually do that?
What did I have to give up? Well, I had to give up being right about, because I knew a lot of stuff. Like the big danger for me was like probably a lot of people out there that are listening, I knew a lot of stuff. I'd listened to hundreds of hours of podcasts from specialists talking about this kind of thing. I've heard Dean talk. I was suffering from just knowing too much information and not actually doing anything. So I had to put that aside and just get that it just didn't matter how much more stuff I read or listened to. It just came down to action. And on one level, what's very strange, on one level, I'm not sure what had me take action, to be honest. Obviously my wife is...
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's the other side of it. It doesn't matter, right? Like you can analyze it till the cows come home. And my wife was nagging me for a long time, but I actually don't know what had me took action, but I did. And what had me keep taking action was I saw results very quickly.
Yeah.
I'd done this kind of thing before to an extent, but after 2 or 3 days, I just said, "Oh, screw it! I'll just do I'll eat what I want." But this time was different because I think it was probably the second day I'd actually lost like 1.5 kilos.
Yeah.
And whether that was fat or just water, I don't know. But the scale was telling me that I'd actually made some progress, and that built a little bit of momentum that just got that snowboard.
Yeah, right. Awesome.
Yeah.
And how much have you lost so far, and how long have you been on the protocol?
So I've lost a lot of weight now that I look back at it. It was like
Is that what
32
the scales say?
Yeah.
The scales actually say now, not so much. Before they said, a lot.
Yeah, it just says minus a shitload is what it comes up as on the screen. No, so it's been 32 kilos,
Wow.
which is a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And looking back now, I can't believe that that's actually how much less I weigh.
And in
So I started, yeah.
how long? How many weeks?
So that pretty much took me 3 months, just over 14 weeks.
Wow.
It took.
30
It took 14 weeks.
weeks.
And to be honest, I could have lost it faster. There was just like, I started to fluctuate a bit and then get on the coaching calls and get back on track. But yeah, 14 weeks, 32 kilos.
That's insane. Good on you, dude.
Crazy.
That's great, hey?
Yeah.
And what have you got along the way besides losing 30 kilos? And I was talking to Dean the other day, because I did this. I don't know if I've told you about that. We're going to get some weight vests so you can crank on 20 or 30 kilos and say, oh, dude, it'll blow your mind.
Yeah.
And, you just can't fathom that you are walking around like that as normal. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It is insane. But what have you gotten along the way besides the weight loss? What have you picked up along the way that you hadn't seen before?
Yeah, so much stuff. So firstly, my wife's a chef. She's a very good chef. She's a head chef. So she knows what she's doing when it comes to any kind of food. That was kind of, I wouldn't say useless. Like I thought that would be really useful, right? Oh, she can cook my meals. She can give me ideas, and she did. But the thing that I really got was that I need to take responsibility for my meals. And part of the problem was handing off that responsibility to someone else. That was part of what got me where I was. So I really started to understand that I need to buy the food. I need to plan the meals. I need to buy the food. I need to cut up the vegetables. I need to cut up the meat. I need to research myself how to actually cook this stuff properly, how to store it, like the planning of food. Like I just never really done that. It was always just eat out and, eat the leftovers the next day and whatever. So that was the first thing I started to notice. I became interested in all the details when it came to food. And that made me really think about what I was eating and how much I was eating before.
Doesn't it change the whole experience of eating too, though?
Yeah,
as I say that, I can hear like three mates going, well, I uncooked all your food, you idiot. What are you talking about? I sat over with a stick and went, no, none of that. Some more of that. That's good. No, I'm joking. But even just that principle early on of like sitting down and eating your meal without just like standing around hooking a meal down while you're watching TV or doing, before you've got to go out and do something else, totally reconnects you with the joy of food. And before I would have said that's why I was big, because I love food.
Yeah.
I love shoving food in my face. Now I love food. It's a little different, yeah.
I also was someone who I would tell myself and other people, I really love food. I love food. But I realized on this protocol that what I love is sugar and carbohydrates. That's actually what I love. When I order pizza, I always order pizza with, the crust and the lots of cheese and barbecue sauce, like not tomato sauce, barbecue sauce, because it's got a lot more sugar in it. And that I realized that's actually what I love.
Yeah. Right.
And I didn't really notice that before until I started eating on this protocol. And then I realized, I'm actually craving sugar and carbohydrates.
Right.
That's actually what I love. And part of being on this protocol is now that I haven't eaten sugar for so long, even when I have a tiny, tiny bit of sugar, I'm very sensitive to it.
How sweet is it?
Yeah. Like I really notice how sweet things are. Like I just had some Pepsi Max the other day for the first time in months. Like we used to have Pepsi Max like every night. And I was on the floor with how sweet it is. It's like sickly sweet.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
before it was like drinking water.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't think twice between water and Pepsi Max. I just have a Pepsi Max.
Water with Scotch.
Well, yeah, obviously. But yeah, I think I've really reset my taste buds.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, everything does taste. I mean, and a lot of the vegetables and stuff that it's not that I wouldn't eat, but couldn't be bothered eating. I was too busy eating other stuff.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoy them. I'm just like, this is great. And
isn't it weird?
Yeah.
Isn't it weird how you just enjoy vegetables?
That's ridiculous.
I never thought I'd say that. Yeah. No?
And there's vegetables, like Lan doesn't like cooking the same thing twice. So, and she'll cook some things and I'll eat them. They're great. But she goes, you can't just eat broccoli all the time and this and that. I would. I love broccoli. It's just awesome.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like once you start to fall in love with these different foods, there's a whole new world opens up. I know it sounds really lame, but like for me, if you'd have told me that before this, I would have said that's really lame. But really, a whole new world opens up because you can enjoy eating other things. I don't have to go to a restaurant and always order a shit ton of meat and sugary sauces and stuff, because that was my go-to, you know. Now I can actually look at the rest of the menu and go, oh, actually tonight I feel like a soup. Like, I can't believe I'm saying that I would eat a soup at a restaurant. Like, I would never, every time I look at a menu, as soon as I see the soup heading, I'm just next page. Yeah. That's for, you know, people, that's part of the kids menu or something, isn't it? Like, I'm here to actually eat proper food. But now, like, I was at a Thai restaurant the other day, and like, because I'm still on the protocol, I was like, oh, I can actually try a soup, and I really enjoyed it, and it filled me up. I didn't feel bloated at the end. You know, I went home and actually had a good night's sleep because it was just a lot of liquid and some flavor.
Yeah.
So
where
rediscovered that.
Where are you up to now in the protocol?
So I'm just about to go into phase 2. So I've been on phase 1 for. Yeah, well, this is, I think, week 15 now, or week 16. So I've got another call with Dean, hopefully in a couple of weeks' time, to move into phase 2 and to, you know, transition into eventually phase 4.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. What else?
That's where I'm at. Other stuff that I've been getting, it's weird how much I've, like how much I'm sticking to like my word, like what I said I would do. So I know myself as someone before this protocol where there's certain parts of my life where I could really stick to what I said I wanted to do, you know, like in business or in other parts of my life, in finances. If I say I'm going to save this much, or if I say I'm going to invest this much or whatever, I'm pretty much stick to it. Food has always been something in my life that I never had any control over. Like I would say one thing and then do the complete opposite. And it's a part of my life where I just gave up on it. I was just like, you know what? I just don't have any power over that part of my life, and I'll just have to go to the gym and work harder to compensate, which also never worked.
Yeah.
But what's so bizarre but also empowering is, you know, I'm 33 now, almost 34. For the first time in my life, really, I'm able to say, look, I'm not going to have that tonight. I'm not going to eat McDonald's tonight, or I'm not going to overeat on whatever tonight, and I actually stick to it. Which is really, it's strange. It's almost like I have an out of body experience, like, because normally I'd just be scoffing stuff down at dinner, but sometimes people will ask me now, like, oh, do you want to have this, or do you want to have the seconds or thirds? And I'll kind of have this out of body experience where I watch myself say, no, I won't. I'm actually all right. I'm full. Yeah. You know, I won't. I'm not going to have that you know, that beer tonight or whatever. Like, it's just strange. Like, I feel like a different person. That sounds really lame as well, but I really do. I do feel like a whole different person.
What's the whole point? Really, isn't it? I mean, if you didn't, there'd be something missing from the coaching side of stuff. And
yeah,
you know, as Dean says, we can all lose weight. Just stop shoving food in your face. But it's what else you get out of this protocol and the intervention of your metabolism, and that makes this a big difference in just losing weight.
Yeah, and it's almost like by taking a whole bunch of actions, like it's almost like I force myself to take a bunch of actions, and then my psychology kind of caught up. and now they're kind of synced up. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's like, because I saw the results early on, I kind of forced myself to just keep going, just stick to the diet, being skeptical the whole time. But then eventually my brain caught up, and now it's like I can say I'm not going to eat that, and then I don't eat it. And it's something like you would have gone through the same thing. You can't really explain it. You have to kind of go through it and experience it for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, that whole idea of like just committing to it and not having to think about it and work it out. Because if you'd have told me when I started this, Trev, that you're going to be a whole new person and you can actually say no to stuff, I wouldn't have believed you. I just would have thought it was yeah. That's why you didn't. But I get it now. Like I get it now because I've actually lived it. But
and did you see anything like I did? Remember, I spoke to you when we were leaving a birthday party, I think it was, and I just left, and I was still on phase 1 at that stage as well, and I think you'd just started. I was leaving the party, and I said, how it stuck out to me, how I'd use food to engage myself and keep me distracted from having to just be with people.
Yeah.
With nothing between you, you know what I mean? It was. Did you find that as well, or did you just stood there and?
Yeah, I did. When you told me that, I really got what you were saying, because I noticed at that same party, when there's like an awkward moment, or when there's like some sort of a lull in the conversation, instead of trying to reconnect with someone or to kind of get more involved in the conversation, I would just turn my back and walk over to the table of food.
Yeah.
But then I also noticed I was catching myself, because I go over to the table and there wasn't that much I could eat. So I just pour myself a water and then go back. And
there was even less after I ate all the celery sticks and and the slices of meat.
Yeah. There's like fried chicken wings and stuff left, so I had to.
How weird is it that you can't just be in a bit of silence for a while? It's okay to stand there and be in a room full of people where no one's talking about anything for seems like 10 minutes, but it's probably 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, oh geez.
Yeah. But this is the thing, when it comes to food, like we all inherit like ways of being around food from our parents, and like when we're young, but nobody really ever like really stops to examine it and like see how we see food, our relationship to food, how it impacts us. Nobody really stops to examine that, really. You just, because it's always there. It's like the water that you swim in. It's just always there. It's like part of the air you breathe. And part of this protocol that's been great is actually I've been forced to stop and think about my relationship to food and what it was costing me, because my relationship to food honestly was terrible. So it really forced me to examine that. And it's just weird. It's like it's been right under my nose the whole time, but I had no idea.
Yeah. What was it like for you in the before you started? Like, what was it like knowing you had to do something but not doing something and always going to be doing something? What was the experience of that like for you?
Yeah, I think on the surface I was like annoyed and frustrated, probably like everyone, and like resigned and cynical and a bit kind of over it, like whatever. But I think that was the surface. Like underneath, I was really embarrassed. I think I've got, like, for example, I'm here in my study and I've got this huge mirror that you can't see just over there. And so I'd be like typing away at my computer, and every now and then I'd look to the side and get a profile image of me and be like, oh my God, and just be disgusted at like how fat I'd become. But then I just kind of suppress it and just pretend like I didn't see that and just continue on and be really...
Pull the shirt over.
Yeah, pull my shirt down. Yeah. Or I just slide the mirror over so I couldn't see myself anymore. And I was actually really embarrassed and like... I'm just trying to find the word. Like, it's because other parts of my life I have a lot of power. Like I can make stuff happen in other parts of my life. So I felt like I was powerless in this kind of area of my life. And I think the main word was embarrassed. I know that the main word's embarrassed because it's hard for me to even say it. Because for me to say that I'm embarrassed about something is like, it's like the worst thing I could say about myself. And that's really what I was about my weight and how I looked.
Yeah.
And so, and so that's why when people would bring it up, like, you know, close friends and family, they would bring it up and say, oh, you're going to do something about your weight or whatever. I just instantly become embarrassed and change the subject or have some excuse, you know. And that would actually put some distance between me and people who are close to me, because I would, you know, they're trying to help me out and you know, they want to genuinely help me, and I'm just pushing them away because I'm embarrassed. So, you know, that was it was very lonely too, because I felt like I couldn't ask for anyone's help, and I couldn't do anything about it myself. So I was totally helpless, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
what's there
so,
now?
yeah.
What's there now? Now you've lost the weight and you've just discovered all these things for yourself. What's next? What's it made available to you that wasn't there before?
Okay, so it's very empowering to know that the one thing that I really haven't been able to shift almost my whole life, I've been able to shift, right? I've always said to myself that this is one thing I just can't fix. And it's like, okay, so if I can now fix the one thing that for 30 odd years I've never been able to do anything about, then, I mean, then anything really is possible. Like, if this is the only thing that I've genuinely couldn't fix and I can now, then it just feels like that I really can do anything. I can take on anything. And that's how it's been. Like, I just started taking all these new actions and doing things that I normally wouldn't do because I just felt so empowered.
And you are doing some new stuff now, aren't you? You're doing...
Well, yeah, I've got a new, you know, this all happened during COVID, right? So there's all these opportunities that I've started to see that I couldn't see before. You know, normally I think if something like COVID would have hit, I would have been really down and depressed. But now it's like, oh, okay, so there's actually opportunities here. Like, started a new business. I've just started to take on my career again because I just kind of given up as COVID hit. Like, I lost my job. And so I'm getting back into that. Exercise when I was a kid used to be a big part of my life, and I just gave up on that as I started to gain weight in my 20s. And now it's like, you know, on the protocol, I haven't been doing much exercise at all, apart from a very light walk. Like, I've lost 32 kilos just doing a couple of walks a week. Yeah. But now what's exciting is I want to get back into the gym and actually build some muscle. You know, I'm 33 and I want to actually get into peak physical shape. Yeah, cool. So I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff that I normally wouldn't do, which is exciting and scary, but also, you know, it's empowering just to know that, you know, I'm just, I don't know, I'm just a new person.
How's Ju with it all?
Yeah, I inspired you to lose weight. So, you know, my wife Agnes is, you know, she's always been pretty slim, but she's put on, you know, 5 or 6 kilos more than she wanted to, and she saw me losing all this weight. She's like, oh, well, I'll do it too. And so she's lost like 6 kilos, awesome. In like 2.5, 3 weeks, and it's really infectious. Like we were saying before, that when people actually see the results. They want to find out about it and they want to do it themselves, and they get excited. They start to see, you know, what they can do about their lives and how they can change their body too. So yeah, Agnes has been really, really excited and happy. She's actually buying new clothes and trying on stuff that she normally wouldn't. So yeah, everyone's, I think everyone in my life's like genuinely happy for me because I think they've given up as well, to be honest, just like I had.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
So
that's great, man. Congratulations. Thanks for being on the chat with me. We might leave it there, and hopefully someone saw something for themselves in what you've just shared. I'm sure, you know, I went through a lot of the same things myself. As you were pointing out there too. And, you know, just the energy levels and the vitality and how you see yourself and therefore how you see your life after this. Not just losing the weight, I want to reiterate that, it's the coaching as well, and what that makes available to transfer what you're getting from the weight loss into the other areas of your life. It is really cool. and it's
Yeah.
it's great. So many people are taking it on, and I just get messages all the time from people from all around the country. Really, well, not all around the country, mainly Eastern Seaboard,
Mm.
and with just, I'm loving this. It's great. I can't believe it. I love speaking to Dean. I've lost this many kilos, and it's just like, how cool is that? That is awesome.
Yeah.
So we're just
And
going to
it's really,
build a community of just physical weapons, surely.
well, I think we have to acknowledge that what we've achieved as a community going on this protocol is it's quite rare. The number of people that lose weight, number one, but then keep it off for a significant amount of time is very rare.
Yeah.
But I had a question for you. So with where you're at now,
Yep.
You're finding it, I assume you're finding it relatively easy to maintain this kind of lifestyle, right?
Yeah. Coming out into phase 4 and, relatively being able to eat what you like, but obviously, there's what you've learned along the way and what you should eat with what and what you shouldn't eat with other things. There's just that in the back of your mind. And there's just, for me, a big part of the weight gain and what I dealt with along the way in the protocols was eating late at night. Because that's when I'm home alone. Lan's not home till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I'm just watching TV. I'm not about to get called anywhere anytime soon for anything. So it's just, beer, wine, and snacks until Lan gets home. And that was probably the most difficult thing that I dealt with along the way, was that habit of at 7 o'clock. All right, let's go.
So what, do you eat different things now? Like at that, because that still happens, right? You're still there at 7 o'clock at night on your own.
I don't eat the same amount. And there's times I have, and I'm like, whoa, hang on a second. Why am I actually hungry? No. I had dinner 2 hours ago, and I've eaten this already, and that'll do. That's fine. And same with the drinking. I'll have a glass or two of red wine.
Yeah.
And then go, that's it. That's fine. That's all I need.
Yeah, and you can just stop.
Instead of before, I would have started with beer, 3 or 4 beers, maybe a couple of bourbon and maxes. Max, and then a bottle of red wine. And that was like most days.
And a couple of fire bombs, maybe, as well.
A couple of fireballs, yes. But, it really is. You'll see when you start transitioning out and you hit phase 3 in particular, and you can have more carb in the first week or two of phase 4.
Yeah.
Once you've recalibrated your body and your metabolism into like the machine that it initially was made to be, once you've calibrated that, you'll be stunned at the effect some foods have on you that you would never, ever have thought. You just everyday stuff that you just eat. And I remember the first time I could eat whatever, Dean come over and I think we had a couple of shots of scotch. And that's all I had, I didn't go, right now, this is my indulgence day, I can just go nuts. So that's all I had all night was those 2 shots of scotch. And I came in and ate. I didn't really eat much that day that I wasn't supposed to, or, that was out of the ordinary, because I wasn't really mentally prepared for it. Just locked up.
You weren't mentally prepared.
Yeah, because, when you know the day's coming, you're like, right, that day's coming, I can't wait. But I wasn't. I was like, when am I going to phase 4, And he said, I'm going to come round tonight and weigh you and do this, do that now. And then he's like, all right, so you're on phase 4 now. Let's go and have a drink. What?
Oh, yeah, right.
And the next
so just caught you off guard.
And the next day I was just like, okay, so I can have whatever I really like today. I was just sort of at a bit of a loss as to what I wanted to eat. Whereas before I could have told you 20, right, I'm going to get Krispy Kremes, a pizza. I'll get some chips and stuff, dips and stuff, and salamis and cheeses and some red. I'll get this nice little platter. It was just ridiculous. I'm just walking around Coles and Woolworths just going, nah. What's oh wow, look at the sugar in that.
Yeah. We were just at Woolies just an hour ago, and like the amount of time I spend looking at the labels now, because I'm actually interested in what's in it
Yeah.
and how much sugar and carbs is in it. Yeah.
Even that side of it's been really great. And I've been speaking to, I've sort of pretty much had my head around that a fair bit, but it's amazing how many people don't. And I can see why people get into trouble with, you know, a name on the front of a box saying high protein or,
Yeah.
you know, whatever labels they put on there, low in sugar, but it's just massed in fat, or low in
that's
fat and it's massed in sugar, or whatever. It's amazing how some of the people on the protocol I speak to, and they're like, oh, so how do you know which ones you can eat? It's like, we just read the label.
Just look at the label. They make it really easy for you. Yeah.
But they hadn't got their head around that yet. And
yeah, right.
if you're not interested in it, I suppose it's...
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? If you're not interested, if you don't take an interest, what I found was fascinating is if you just take 30 seconds to look at a couple of labels, right? Like we're looking at protein bars, for example, and we found our favorite one. But after looking at a couple of the labels for the different protein bars, you can make a simple choice to switch from one that's like got a lot of carbs. They've all got lots of protein, but some of them have got a lot of carbs, right? And a lot of sugar, and some of them don't. And so just by switching to one that has less carbs and less sugar, but just finding the one that you think tastes good, you can kind of indulge a bit with some of those snacks, but still get the protein you need and avoid the carbs and sugar, you know, but just by just doing a little bit of...
Yeah.
Sorry?
Once you're out the other side, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But just taking
really great though is that on this protocol, like when I first came out, and there was a few weeks where I really had to, and it was silly because I was like, hang on a second, what am I doing here? I'm pushing myself to eat crap because today I'm allowed to, you know? And it's not like here's your indulgence day and you have to eat rubbish, you know, but that's how I was viewing it at sometimes. I was like, but I have to. That's my whatever.
You're feeling pressured.
Yeah, but then a couple of days, you know, a couple of weeks after that, it's amazing how little it takes for you to start feeling heavy again.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know in your head that it's not possible to just put on 6-7 kilos in a week. But you feel like you have. I'll talk to you about it when you get there. And, but what's great about the technology is that, you know, I'd just do a week on phase 1 again. And 3 days into that, you just felt like a machine again.
Yeah.
You're just like, what was I talking about? I haven't. I'll go the rest of the week. And then sort of back to normal again. And it was there's always that phase 1 part to pull you, not even to lose the weight and pull yourself, but to pull your metabolism back into line. I go, okay, we've started to go out a bit now, and we're sort of heading back to where we were. A week on phase 1, and now I'm reset and back to burning stuff how I should and metabolizing stuff how I should. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks for talking to me. Thanks for jumping on the call, and I think I'm going to see you on
Saturday. Yeah.
Catch up. I'm going to get Lan to cook phase 1 certified meals.
Yeah, I was looking forward to a nice soup.
And some vegetables and one of my protein shakes.
It's surprising how filling a couple of glasses of water is, to be honest.
I've got a mate that takes it, and when he first started, he was like, "Do I have to have the protein shake with the vegetables? Can I leave it an hour because I'm full?"
Yeah.
Like, you're eating too many vegetables. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll be on next week. I'll have another guest with me next week, and then Dean will start interviewing some of the specialists in their fields very shortly as well. Any questions, please leave them below. And if you want us to cover anything in particular, or you want to ask any of the guests, I'm having some questions about them starting and anything you're uncertain about that may have you get it over the line and start taking care of your health, please do so, and I will get them to answer directly for you, if I can find Daren after this call. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys. See you, Dad.
Bye.